Or not.
Welcome all as we congregate to the greatest toy lining community, ever growing, ever changing. As we collect and adapt these figures to our own imaginations and embrace the fun, there's much to learn, especially if you're new to Mythics.
I feel like we're just getting ready to start. We've got the beat going. We're just getting ready to lay a track down. Exactly. My name is Greg. I like an egg. My leg is not a peg. Nothing rhymes
awesome.
with Greg, really.
Look out, Purple Gang Gang.
Yeah, right. Watch out. Episode 81 featuring this guy, Noah Pratt. Now, I'm just going to start right off. It's taken 81 episodes to get you onto my show, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And it's not just your fault. I'm a busy guy. I'm all over. But I've known you the longest, I think, in this community.
I think that's a true statement.
Yeah, I think so. Because it was it Mez Coalition? I don't know how we met. Was it Mez Coalition?
It could have been the 112 group, the large 112 group, and then move on to the coalition type of thing. That was a kind of a subgroup that I was running at that point in time, and Greg was one of the first people to jump on and kind of embrace that group. It was pretty cool, and my collecting focus shifted. As we know, and so a lot of my energy was pointed in other directions. So that kind of fell off, and then
I should have followed you.
Yeah, and come to find out, we were just talking backstage that Greg, shortly after that, he came over to the Mythics.
I did, and it was largely in part of Eric. Like Eric Miller was like the coolest dude. Like just so, kind and gracious that, I mean, how could I deny? How could I, turn my back on this community? But I think I didn't know that you were part of it. Like it was kind of a happy surprise. So I think I had made a post or something about, hey, I got this, this cool head sculpt by some guy named Eric. I didn't know Eric was Eric, and he may not have been, as prestigious, like as well known, maybe. And maybe he was. I don't know.
Was, but
okay. I'm sorry. Sorry, Eric. I apologize.
Hey, you didn't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Dude, I had no. I didn't even know what the Horseman looked like. I thought Nate Strong was a Horseman. I had no idea. So, Eric was super kind and gracious, and I'll always embarrass him and say that he was just the nicest guy, and I was grateful to get one of his head sculpts, and I literally kept it for years in this little box, with bubble wrap.
Which one was it?
It was a woman's. It's a woman's. I'm looking at it for some reason like a dog. Like there it is, right there.
I know the one.
I don't. Oh, you do. Okay.
I know the one. I was just seeing if I could get you to talk about it a little bit.
It's pretty cool. It's gorgeous. I remember looking at it when he posted. He's like, I have a few of these, head sculpts. Why am I talking in Eric's voice? I don't know. I have a few of these, head sculpts here that.
Wait,
that
am I on the podcast with the rest of the guys?
Right? Yeah, here they are. And I was just like, whoa! Like I don't think I knew. I was so new that I didn't know that there was like kind of an industry of different heads. Like I thought, I didn't know about pop and swap and all that crap. Like I was just, you buy it and put it on the shelf. Like that's all I ever. I did a little bit of like, with the Joes, I would take them apart and put them back together and stuff.
Yes.
But
that was my earliest pop and swaps, was pulling apart the O-ring
Joes.
Joes.
So fun, dude. But then my mom was like, I was gonna say, bro, she would be like, son, you've got to, excuse me, you've got a box full of arms and legs and heads. Like, I'm not buying these for you to like, break them apart. And I'm like, well, I'm building
Hmm.
here.
You're
I've
just
got a
ahead of your
catalog.
time. Mom didn't
Yeah,
know. You were doing your
she didn't
early
know.
Brett Stoddart impression.
Exactly.
You had little
That's
bins
exactly
with
right. Little
body parts,
bins.
and
He's very efficient though. Like he's got
yeah, isn't he?
these giant, like, did you see, oh, you were there, like you were next to him at Legion's Con. Like, I'm like, I could barely see over the bins that he had. He's got this like giant wagon now.
Yeah.
And he might have a beast of burden attached to it. I don't know. There might be a mule or something that he's got
Yeah, totally. He
for
needs one
these
if he
bone
doesn't.
bins that he's got, the bone daddy. He's got all these different parts bins and stuff. But anyways, now I'm just back to circling back. I'm grateful that there are so many damn cool people, because I think that's what Mez Coalition. I really liked getting to know people like in that community, and it was nice because I had never really dabbled very much into like Facebook and communities on all that, but I liked Mez Coalition in that, we had faces, we had identities, and like we were, we kind of got to know each other and stuff. And I liked that. Like you and I had trades. You were like all about Punisher, Mezco Punishers.
Still got him. Still
How
got
many?
him.
So how many did you end up at the most? How many did you have at one time? Because I think I
Oh,
asked you this, and you're like, I don't know, I don't remember.
I don't know. It was probably it wasn't anything crazy. Probably somewhere around like 7 or 8 different.
Oh, okay. I thought
Of
you had more than that, but
nah, no. Uh, I probably wish that I did,
there,
but
yeah. I mean, you could put a kid through college with.
I think I had a couple of the PX and a couple of
Mhm.
the white variant, and but that was I got rid of that stuff, and I still have a majority of it, but
Do you?
kept
I've got
kept the
one Punisher left. I got one.
I kept most of the Punisher stuff, but
Yeah,
I got rid of
those
a
were
lot of
nice
the
though. They're
yeah.
awesome figures. Came with a lot of stuff.
But the thing with that Mez Coalition group, I think, was the fact that at that time, the larger Mezco 112 collector group was just that. It was very large.
Mhm.
I think it was you know 10,000 people or something in there, something crazy like that, and it was just easier to have a smaller intimate group with having that Mez Coalition set up. So I don't know what the original intent was, and the separation between the two, but whatever it was, I'm happy that we did it, and I'm happy that we had that time. Jeremy
Me too.
Foster,
Yes, our boy.
shout out Jeremy.
He's being stubborn, man. We both
Yeah,
tried to get him into Mythics, but
yep. Oh, Dorclair,
I was
Bill Janowski. Yeah,
just about to mention him.
yep.
I think I said this to him not too long ago, but I was just like, guy, like I didn't laugh at him, but I'm like, this guy is so analytical.
Hmm.
Like he had like charts
Yeah,
and like
he was always that way,
always
and it's
that way.
awesome, man.
I was like, wow, Bill, like you broke down, like he had like
Yeah.
variants and like the months that they came out, and like
Hmm.
he posted it, and I was like, holy crap, like this guy has got like supercomputer brain,
He's got his stuff together.
got his stuff
Not this
together.
guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that was wild. That
Yep.
was wild. That was, it
Good
had to be
times.
like 2013, 2014, something like
Yeah.
that.
It was way back.
In the, way back when, way back.
Yeah. I
But
don't remember when it was.
yeah,
Yeah. Good times.
good
Good
times,
times.
man. Good times. So now I've got you here.
Hmm.
We're here now.
We are.
How did you make that transition from Mezco into, did you already know about like the Four Horsemen, and did somebody introduce it to you like I did? Someone did for me.
Yeah. So as far as my knowledge of the Four Horsemen, I was aware of their work without knowing essentially who they were.
Mhm.
In a way that most people can say, the McFarlane, their work on the McFarlane line, uh, that stuff was always, really cool to me. And even though I didn't realize it was them doing it, so I was just kind of like oblivious, so to speak, most of the time. And then how I how it finally got onto my radar and how I made that transition was, I would say, largely uh, Bill, largely Dorklair, and Darius, the Amazing. Those guys doing their thing with their reviews and their cool photos and everything. I don't really need to say a whole lot about what they do. Everybody knows
Yeah,
them.
who are those guys?
Yeah.
I don't know who you're talking. D who? I don't know who you're talking
the
about.
the original enablers.
That
Those,
is
yeah,
so accurate, dude. That is so accurate.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about like how because I ask people a lot like how did you first find out about Horsemen, and I think back then it wasn't like toy companies didn't have identities or they didn't have like
They
you
were
didn't know.
faceless.
Yeah, you didn't know who sculpted this or that, like that. It wasn't that time, it wasn't that, you know what I mean, where
Hmm.
it's like, we didn't know who the Horsemen were. Yeah, I mean, if you had a toy fair and opened it, you probably had heard of them, and I was
Hmm.
like, this is kind of a mysterious group of people,
Right.
but like I didn't really think about that. Like I didn't, it wasn't like baseball cards or something where you're like, oh, this pitcher is on this team and I'm gonna follow this because I
Hmm.
like, you know what I mean, like I'm not gonna, oh, I'm just gonna follow the Horsemen wherever they go or follow their career, because like toys, we didn't really grow up with that,
Yeah.
and now it's completely different, and I love that there's focused on toys and what they do, and I love that
The
lists
artists
that,
themselves.
yes, the artists themselves. Yeah, that,
Hmm.
and I love that Cornboy posted that list of all the stuff, because it's like, holy shit, like that really connected so much of our childhoods to what they do, you know what I mean, like it was like, wow.
And the coolest part about all that, Greg, is that they are just as big of toy nerds and everything else as us. Like that's what brought them there, and that's why their stuff is so cool. Is just because you can see and feel the love and passion that they have for what they're doing. They're just like us, man,
Absolutely.
and you know it.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know who Mezco is. I don't know who runs like the Hasbro. I don't know that.
Oh, Jerry Hasbro, you never met him?
Yeah, Jerry Hasbro. Yeah, Jerry and Don. Yeah,
Yeah,
Hasbros. They're
yeah,
Hasbros.
the Hasbros. Uh, no, you're right.
But you're right though. Like, and that's something that has endeared them to us, is that they're so, that they know our names is
Yeah,
insane.
yeah,
And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. Like they get to know all of us, and even if they don't, there's a hug or a handshake or how are you, and how, like
dude.
just that genuine.
Did you see how late like Treadaway was in the lobby at Legion's Con?
It
Like
was
Tread,
crazy.
like those guys are hanging out doing lobby visit. They're hanging out with everybody. It's not like an exclusive, like, oh, you don't have a YouTube show, so I'm not going to talk to you.
Right.
That's not the way it works. And anybody that thinks that way, that is
They don't
absolutely not the
care. Like
case.
it's the relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just us being fans and them being fans too. You're right. Like that's, I think they feel comfortable and safe with us. We're their people and they're our people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what Legion's Con is all about, is just being with people that are our tribe, and, and hanging out with people that make amazing stuff, cool
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Not just them, but like the industry, like you, for instance, also, people that make cool stuff. We're all, celebrating and bringing fat wallets to, help, help out other artists and things like that. So,
Yeah, myself included. I my wallet was sobbing along with Richard and everybody else.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's once a year.
Yep, that's right. You save up. You that's kind of it's the emotional like smorgasbord. It's the or what is it, buffet? Maybe I should have
The
said.
buffet.
It's
That's
it's an
right.
emotional buffet. It's a physical buffet. You go to
Absolutely.
the armory and I don't know, you get parts and
Hell
it's a
yeah.
buffet.
My wife's like, what do you want for Christmas? I'm like, I'm going to Legion's Con. That's
Hmm.
that's my Christmas right there. Like don't judge me when I come home with a box
That's right.
of great goods. Don't
That's right.
judge me.
Yep.
t-shirts and figures and head sculpts and stickers and
I
swag.
I promise some of this stuff was gifts.
Right? Yeah, it's not all mine, babe. I mean, come on.
I'm shipping
This
for
box
friends.
is huge. Yeah, this is not all mine. I mean, not at
Yeah.
all.
I seen the boxes you're shipping out, man.
Oh my lord. I didn't know what I'm a yes man. I'm like, sure, yeah, I can do that.
You're a
And
good
then
friend, is what you are.
logistically, I'm like, crap, how's this gonna fit in my car? You know?
Yeah.
So I try.
Yep.
But
So
but
just pack less underwear, right? I mean, that's all it
I
is.
did that last year. Yeah, I had to go to Target, and Target's underwear selection for big men is
Yeah.
non-existent. So
Yeah.
they were a little snug. They were so snug, probably might have been a little see-through. But
Modified thong action.
modified thong action, yeah, definitely rubber band holding a peanut kind of thing. It was scary. It was terrifying.
That's
We're
awesome.
gonna cut this out. We're gonna cut it out.
Imagery.
Yeah, imagery. But no, back to what we're going. So you kind of knew about the Horsemen. Um, so like, did you collect like the Spawn stuff and like, were you in on that or were you kind of not
Yeah.
really
I, I I
collecting back
had
then?
I had some of the Spawn stuff. Even then, I was my one of my bigger takeaways was like they're more of a statue, an art piece, and so that was the only detractor for me with
Hmm.
some of that Spawn stuff was just I didn't really have a nice space to display things, so I would pick something up and want to mess with it like I am
Hmm.
right now, fidgeting with these dang things. But uh,
I got this guy right here that
oh yeah, that's your fidget
this is my
toy.
fidget. Yeah.
uh, but so although I really loved and I was over the moon with the sculpture work and the paint
Hmm.
applications and everything, just the nobody else was doing that with the washes and dry brushes and
Right.
the crazy
The
detailed sculpture,
artistry.
like yeah, unheard of. So that was something that I gravitated towards. Um, but but yeah, beyond that, I wasn't like I've got every variant of every release of this, that, and the other thing. I was just more of a casual collector at the time.
So were you kind of like an articulation snob then? Were you like, this doesn't, but I mean, it's
Yeah,
fair because growing up like G.I. Joe and stuff like that kind of spoiled us. So we went from my age, I had like the 5 points of articulation, which back then was fine. Like I
hmm,
didn't like, damn, I can't swivel,
right.
Luke's lightsaber.
Lightsabers. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it was enough. Like our imagination kind of fudged it so
Hmm.
that I didn't think, it's like you can't miss what you don't have or what you don't know about.
Yeah.
And so I think, and then, but G.I. Joe kind of turned it, so like I remember when
Definitely.
they had like the swivel cut in their bicep, it was
Hmm.
like, holy crap, like
You could do
he can hold his
chops and
gun and like yeah, he can do like crazy things. And like, I was like, whoa. So I think
yeah.
that kind of opened our eyes to, articulation and kind of spoiled us on that. But I think that the Spawn stuff, like you said, they were kind of statuesque and fragile, but they were cool. It was like a cool like shelf, so like
Really
we're
cool.
we're teenagers now.
Yeah.
We're cool. Like I'm gonna have
Sophisticated. Yeah.
yeah, we're I put my toys, they're in the garage or
Yeah.
something. But this is a cool like I got Redeemer over here. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
I've
that's
got
metal.
like yeah, I've got
Yeah.
like metal Spawn and the one with the machine gun. I forget what he's
Yep.
called, but
They're
I've
a
got
little
the little
more,
clown dude.
maybe a little more socially acceptable for a teenage boy who's hanging out with the tough kids or
Yeah, yeah. What are those? Your toys?
yeah.
No, man.
No,
He's
he's got guns,
bad,
man.
dude. Yeah, he's got grenades on his man. He's bad, dude. He's got chains.
So
Dude's metal.
you were kind of talking about the articulation snob piece, and that kind of that touched on something in my brain. Um, and I don't know if I would say that it was like something that I was conscious of, like oh, if it doesn't, if it's got to have X amount of articulation points or it's garbage. There was that wasn't the thing, but maybe subconsciously, even looking back at like I really was into the. Do you remember the X-Men line? Like I think it was
Is it
Toy
Toy
Biz.
Biz or
Yeah.
yeah?
And yeah, just loved that line. I did everything that I could to collect more and more and more characters for that. That was like my main thing. And some of my favorite figures from that line of toys was they weren't necessarily my favorite designs or my favorite characters from the comic books, but they were the ones that had the best like articulation, the ones
Hmm.
that best translated to the action figure form. And I never really was conscious of that until like I just thought about like that whole articulation thing where just I gravitated towards the ones that had the extra cuts and
Hmm.
maybe worked better aesthetically with the articulation.
What do you think that was? Do you think it was just like I can play with this more?
Yeah.
I can get some cool poses out of it. You
Yeah.
know.
It's just the there's something there's one of my neurodivergent tendencies
Hmm.
is I'm always messing with stuff. I'm a very fidgety person. And I think I honestly think that it probably has something to do with that.
Hmm. Like a hand toy, like
Yeah.
having something
Yeah.
that will articulate and move, and that because I
Don't give me a pen.
right thousand
Man, stop it.
I'm like that too. I'm like that too. Well, my grandpa, he did this thing with his thumbs. Like
Oh,
he would like flick his thumbs because he didn't have glios, so he couldn't.
yeah.
But so now
Grandpa.
when I was a kid, I
There
would
you go.
start doing it. So that's like my fidget thing. Like I'll
Yep.
do this thing with my thumbs. They're not like this, but
Yeah.
like when my hands are at like resting, they're like always like I'm like, what am I doing? That, but it's like a fidgety.
That's funny. I saw Big Greg. He's got some like some similar fidgety,
Does he?
yeah,
Maybe we
thumbs
had the same grandpa. I don't know.
maybe. No, that's cool. I never noticed that. I'm gonna be looking at your thumbs from now on, Greg.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I wouldn't buy and I don't know if it was being like an articulation snob. I think it was just I didn't really want statues. Like even nowadays I'll be like, "Oh, that's cool, but it's a statue. I'm not buying that." You know what I mean? Like I want to
Hmm.
be able to move it. I want to have the option to be able to, you know, make it do what I want it to do.
Yep.
Like to answer to my imagination. Because I remember I had bought, I loved X Files, and they had these X Files action figures,
Mm-hmm.
and I think their arms moved. Like that was it.
Was it a McFarlane? It was a
Yeah,
yeah. I
but I
remember
was
that.
so excited. I was like, yes, cool, man. I'm gonna have these on my shelf, man,
Hmm.
next to my cool, But and I opened it, and I was just so bummed out. I'm like, why the f can't their legs move? Like, what, what?
Yeah. It's
Why
like
are you
three
doing
points
this
of
to me?
articulation
Yeah, I
versus
was so
four.
excited, dude, and the legs didn't move.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man. So after that, I was really kind of wary. Like I would look at like the McFarlane stuff or the NECA stuff and
Hmm.
see like, oh, okay. I started to look for like cuts in
Hmm.
there, like because I didn't notice before. So now I'd be like, let me see like, and I don't think points of articulation. I don't even think that was a term back then. But like I
Right.
would look to see where the cuts were, and look to see if like he could bend his legs or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so that became a thing, I guess, and that was kind of like an evolution for us that we kind of
Hmm.
started to be more specific and more needy.
With that, Greg, did you notice for a time that things almost got to a point where they were doing articulation cuts just to do them? Like,
Mhm.
let's do 500, points of articulation,
Uh,
and there is a point where it becomes too much, right?
yes, I'm thinking of Spider-Man. Like when you brought
Yeah.
up Toy Biz,
Yeah.
like there's some
Fingers and
Spider-Mans that are
toes
like,
and
it's like he like got dropped from a building and like everything is broken. So like you
sure.
pick him up and he's just like, because
Yeah.
there's too many. Like I think they did like hand,
Yeah.
and they did like toe, and they
Yeah.
did like just everything, every joint
Hmm.
in his body. And the thing with that is like they won't pose, they'll just kind of fall over. You need
Hmm.
some kind of,
There's a
you know
balance there. No pun intended.
there's a balance for
I
sure.
think, like when you're talking about toe articulation and hands, they've got to be the right size figure. They can't be the smaller figures can't have that many. You know, there's kind of a sliding scale. I feel like the toe cut works so much better on the larger. For instance, I just picked up. I just got the other day the Marvel Legends. I don't ever buy Marvel Legends these days. But for whatever reason, the Gamerverse line has really kind of gotten to me,
I like the
and
colors.
I like the arcade cabinet game was
Hmm.
always something that I
Yes.
loved playing.
Oh, those Capcom games,
Yeah,
forget it, man.
but the Juggernaut, that giant meatball Juggernaut dude.
Chonky.
Yeah, he's that thing. It's so heavy, first of all, but it's got that toe cut. And I was just thinking when I was messing with it, I'm like, that was a good move. You
Hmm.
when with a foot that large, the toe cut is good. But when you're talking about your little Spider Man, like some of that stuff is cool because you know it's Spider Man. But if at the sacrifice of the toy standing up,
Hmm.
it's not that's not a good trade off for us. We
Yeah,
want you got to have some
yeah.
kind of
His foot is like that big,
yeah.
and then if you got the toe articulation, it makes it even less so because that toe is going to go like this every time. So
Flip
he's
flop.
walking around
Yeah.
with like his toes, like, and I think that goes back to like the Horsemen being fans. Like I think Eric and now the team, like the studio, they put thought into how it moves and
A
how it
lot of thought.
works, and you know what I mean, like and why did they do this swivel here, or why did they change this there, and they put thought into it, and sometimes it's you're like, why did they do that for? But and it could be, there's a reason for it in the future, like maybe there's a reason for it that we don't know about, you
Yeah.
know
To that point, you think about how they've mentioned it several times in their streams, but like when they're designing a portrait that has an open mouth, they don't want to have the single portrait that has the hinged jaw because you've got extra cuts and you've got maybe the when a creature is snarling with its mouth open, the
right.
eyes probably aren't going to be the
Right. Yeah,
same.
just normal.
Yeah. So it's the whole expression, and so like that what you said just reminded me of the fact that they're not just like, hey, we're going to throw in articulation. They're actually, does it make sense to do this, or would it make more
Right.
sense to do it like that? So they're putting a lot of thought into it, just like you said.
Yeah, and I am so interested in their thought process and like how far ahead they look. Like I wish that I could be a fly on the wall, not for any secrets, but just to like see how much thought they put into the future and like parts and you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
you'll see Joe Vasapolo say, "Oh yeah, this color intentionally matches that color."
Yeah.
Like Urzok armor matches the armor for
The armory, or
Crossroads or
yeah,
whatever. And it's
yeah,
like, whoa, or Armory. It's like, whoa, like, did you guys do that on purpose? Like, are you guys that like do you have Bill Janowski there having
yeah,
like charts and like, like the Charlie Day like strings
yeah.
like
Who
attaching
is
this
Pepe
to that?
Silva?
Yeah, it's like, are you guys that freaking genius that you have that much, going on to connect all that stuff? It's like
Yeah.
insane.
Talk about fun, huh? I mean, how how much fun are they having back there? I know it can't be all sunshine and rainbows and stuff like that, but
Maybe it can.
yeah, that's
Unless
cool.
it's like a money,
Yeah,
like Jeremy's like, okay, guys, we got to talk financial. And I'd be like,
yeah,
I don't want to be there. Let's talk figures, or can we have some figures in here and I'll
right.
play with them while you're talking, numbers and
Yeah, yeah.
stuff.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
Buy low,
Can you
sell
guys see
high.
this swivel? Did you guys see that? How you know,
Ooh,
exactly. Yeah, we would get booted out, you and I. We
yeah,
would not be able to run a successful.
yeah, totally.
I'd be like, well, how does the soft goods look? Can we,
All right,
I want in on that stuff.
we gotta talk money, Greg.
I just don't wanna. So I want to talk about articulation. I want to put you in the hot seat right now. I'm gonna
Oh,
be like the Legion's lair boys, and I know that um, people that have been around in the community for a while may not be super keen on the new articulation. What is your thoughts on them doing like the double jointed, knees and stuff like that. And
You
be
put me in the
honest,
hot seat here, huh? Okay.
I'm just. I mean, who cares? It's like
Yeah. No,
I, I'm. I'll go first and say
yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Like I'm like, let's get stuff in hand and then we'll see. I'm not a photographer. I'm not a customizer. So like it doesn't affect me, but I can see how it would affect people there that have custom things where it's like, okay, you're limiting, like, these parts are new, so like they're not going to attach to anything. You know what I
Right.
mean? So like I
Yep.
get that. And photography, like maybe that joint, maybe that extra long elbow, like the elbow thing or something, maybe it will look weird
Mm.
in a picture. I don't know, but I'm
Yeah.
like, we'll see what happens. Like we did get the Jersey Devil that has the legs. I think I'm looking for it. Where is
Yeah.
it? So we got kind of a preview of the legs for the Wendaji thing. So and I
Yeah.
didn't have a problem with it, but I'm like a vanilla dude. Like I'll just like pose it once and put it on my shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So hot seat, man.
All
What's
right.
your thoughts, dude? Break it down.
So we've got the updated uh, double jointed arms and legs, elbows and knees, and so I'm of several minds here, and there's pluses and minuses. So first and foremost, I'm gonna go over the positive. The extra articulation means that, in principle, that we'll be able to get different poses, maybe some uh, better, maybe better capture some movement in photos and things like that. I'm excited that they're trying different things. I do think it would be silly of us to not mention the fact that they're jumping through hoops to appease portions of the community, and I
Absolutely.
think that's really commendable. They don't have to do any of that. But they're like, hey, people keep talking about the extra joints, so let's see if we can do it. Let's see what it looks like. Maybe we'll see how it's received. I think it like you. I'm waiting until I have everything in hand before I do my final judgment. But I do have some reservations.
Mm.
I don't I come from the original camp of uh, if it doesn't have a double joint, then it's garbage. But that was a stupid point in time in my life. Um, like we were talking about articulation just for the sake of articulation, and that's garbage. That was a stupid Noah.
Yes.
Very bad.
Very bad.
So design has just as big of an impact as the function of it. So aesthetically, it has to be good. I think that they did a good job of kind of not sacrificing too much of the aesthetics to
Hmm.
get that extra joint in there. Do I think it was something that they had to do? Personally, no. I don't need that myself.
Right.
I like to pop things apart, and I like to here. I'm going to give you an example from the customizer standpoint. Not it there in very few situations am I going to pull the arm apart at the lower arm and from the upper arm and separate those two pieces and make those, put like a bare arm with a clocked
Right.
arm. I
Yeah.
I don't do that a lot. So I don't see that separate not being able to separate that elbow joint. I don't see that as being a big problem there. But now, when I'm talking about doing that, I also, even when I'm painting like a regular, say it's all from the same original figure. It's the bare arm upper, bare arm lower. What I do is, even if I'm going to paint that arm a different color, I'm pulling that apart and I'm going to take my Dremel out and I'm sanding the discs. I'm going to
Hmm.
file down the plastic piece that's in there
Wow.
because I don't want it to rub, unless I'm going with the very similar base color on the final product. But I like 9 times out of 10, I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to Dremel that piece
Hmm.
so it doesn't rub. And then I'm going to paint over the joint. I might take a little time and make sure that it's got the tolerance so it doesn't peel up when you move the arm.
Hmm.
Uh, but you can't. I don't know if you can do that with the double jointed piece. I don't
I
know
don't
that
know
you can take
either.
it apart. Again, I'm gonna wait and see what happens because
We'll
maybe I
let
can.
Curtis. We'll let Curtis destroy
Totally. Kurt
His
explode it.
toys.
uh, but yeah, so I'm kind of apprehensive there with that.
Hmm.
Like I said, it looks cool, but I don't know if I need it or not. The
Right.
cool the thing is, like I said before, though, realistically, most of the time you're just going to be pulling the whole arm off and swapping a whole
Right.
arm in, so you're not going to need to separate that.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I guess in that sense, like, but like you said, we don't know like how exactly it does come apart. They
or if
haven't
it
really,
does.
or if it does, they haven't really shown us. So I guess in that sense, like in the customizer sense, like you wouldn't be able to really get that good paint on there that you would normally, or you would just get be able to paint the stuff that was shown or that was visible.
Yep, and
Um,
maybe not as able to avoid paint rub in certain
mhm.
situations, which it just limits things a little bit. It's not gonna that doesn't end the game or anything like that.
I'm
It
out.
changes the way that things happen.
Yeah, I get that, and I appreciate it. I kind of put you on the spot,
That's cool. I
but
like talking about it. I think
we were
it's
going there,
yeah, it's worth talking about.
and I think that, and I've asked Eric this kind of personally, like the future of your line. Are you planning on doing that, like throwing everything? And he's like, no, it's only for things that I feel need that or call for it, and I
I like
respect
that.
that. Like I think they put so much thought into the figure and the aesthetics of that figure. Like I don't need my knights to do like Spider-Man poses. Like I don't need that,
Yeah,
and it irks me in other, and here I go, I'm going on a rant. It irks me when other people that are not fans of the line be like, oh, like they don't articulate at all, or they have,
yeah.
and I'm
Get
like,
out of
dude, what
here.
do you want your knight to do? Like, do you want him to break dance and do like,
Look at that.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, look at that. I
That's
mean,
beyond 90 degrees. See Jordan?
yeah, do you really think that, hey Jordan, do you really think that knights were able to do like that kind of stuff? Like how realistic, it's like, come
Right.
on, man. You know, I don't need knights to be able to articulate that much. Yeah, I would love for them to hold their sword and stuff like that, but like let's be realistic on the figure and what your expectations are of it.
Yeah, a lot. And to your point, a lot of the newer like body styles, they you can get that double-handed sword look. I mean, you can't make him look like he's swinging a baseball bat, but you put a bunch of plate armor on and see how nimble
Yeah,
you are, like you said.
exactly. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So circling back again, because I am a sidetracker. So tell me about your first kind of like when Mythics became something for you. Like how did that come about? Like did someone introduce it to you, or did you see it somewhere?
I think seeing a lot of stuff on Bill's and Darius's social medias, Dorklayer and D Amazing respectively. They it was mostly them seeing them doing stuff, and then eventually I was like, um, the thing one of the, all right, let's talk about why we didn't immediately jump in.
Sure.
It was the fear of the articulation, but I just mentioned those two guys, and they like to show that that is
Yes.
not an issue.
Right.
They're doing cool poses. Nolan, also Nolan collects, a great example of that.
Yeah.
Like really cool, like posing and everything. So let's take away that articulation crap. Uh, so that's one reason to stay away. Knockdown. All right. So the next thing is they're hard to find. They're hard to come by. I don't want to wait for the pre-orders, any of that stuff, or maybe you can just say they're expensive. They're expensive. Well, only if you don't get in on the pre-order. Okay, you got to wait a
Right.
long time for the
Right.
pre-order. So don't wait. Order with Big Bad Toy Store or something, and then you just pay for it when it gets here, and then
Yeah,
you get
it's
the you
cheaper for
yeah.
sure.
So like there's all these reasons why I didn't do it, and then I just finally said, you know what, screw it. Let's take a look at these things and get our toes in the water. Well, that started with a goblin.
Okay.
My first Mythic Legion figure was a goblin, and it was Noobnik. So that's still one of my favorite goblins to this day. I love the little
That's
expressive little
the only
face.
one I don't have is
It's a
Nubnik.
good one.
Yeah.
Uh, highly recommend. But that guy, he was the kind of the breaking the crust. And
Mm-hmm.
so at the time, I was doing photography and stuff, at like just like I do these days, um, when I have a chance. But taking photos and stuff, and I'm like, man,
Mm-hmm.
this guy's really fun. Like I can. He's very like I like that little grin that he's got. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But and then messing with that, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. These guys, you can get them to move around a little bit, and I hadn't done any popping and swapping or anything. It was my only figure. Fast forward to about a week of messing around with that figure. I'm like, I can't wait to check more of this stuff out. I need to check more out. So I did find somewhere. I don't remember if it was on Big Bad Toy Store or it might have been at the time. They had Krona and Purplore in stock. So those were the only two 1.0 bodies that they had in stock at the time, and I was like blown away. I opened those things up, and I was blown away by the buttery smooth
Mm-hmm.
joints and everything. It was once I got those 1.0 bodies in hand, it was like,
That was it.
yeah, lights out.
Yeah.
I immediately started pre-ordering things. Yeah, Malleus I think was the first figure that I pre-ordered. Shout out to Walter.
Yeah. That was
Uh,
my first figure was Malleus.
yeah,
And
what what
I
a
still have it. I love it.
what a cool thing. Yeah, then it was all over, man.
It's
It was all
over.
over.
I remember hearing though, like, like as an outsider looking in about, it's hard to figure out their releases and you don't really know when it's going to happen. Like I would hear detracting
Mm-hmm.
things that kind of made me like, whoa, I'm not sure. They're like, and see, like we were kind of spoiled on Black Series or Marvel Legends being like back then they were like, you know, 14.99 or 18.99 and then 19.99, and so like okay that's kind of expensive, but then you see a figure, Mythics that were 44 or 49, or I don't remember how much they were back then, but the older ones were more
Yeah,
like,
secondary market, you're paying hundreds.
yeah, so I was like, whoa, I'm not really sure about that because I was still in that, Marvel Legends easy, I'll go to Target or Walmart or something and pick up, Classified or Marvel Legends and stuff. It was really easier and more accessible,
It's
and
that
so
toy
Mythics was,
hunting mentality.
yes, exactly. So Mythics, it was kind of like, well, how do I find these? Like, how do I, and a lot of it is like you have to do it on your own. Like, nowadays it's easier. They've got the online store and,
It's awesome.
Big Bad Toy Store, whatever, like,
What a time to
and the,
be alive.
right. Yeah. The Cabal and stuff. There's always somebody selling stuff on there. But like back then you had to kind of, where do I find these? How do I come about? And then the pre-orders and stuff. Cause I remember my friend telling me like, hey, the Headless Horseman is coming, it's $100, jump in on it. And I was like, whoa, bro, $100 for but he's like, yeah, but check it out. It's got,
Comes with a
it's
horse.
articulated, comes with a horse and you could take his head off and you could hold. I'm like, that's pretty rad. That's pretty rad. And I'm like, well, what other stuff do they have? And he's like, well, there's nothing out right now. Like there's nothing else that's, I mean, secondary market, but I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. So like the model was different for me. Like I didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't figure out like, well, I want to check these out. So how do I go about getting them? You know what I mean? So I can't go to, a brick and mortar store to pick these up. Unfortunately I'm in Michigan, so we don't have that kind of, you know,
Yeah.
so
Well,
it made it a little bit more difficult.
to your point there, I mean, you're not just for you're not going to be able to see why you're going to love these things so much. And they always say it, Trevor, I love you, buddy, but the pictures just don't do it the full justice.
That is
Like
true.
you can see how beautiful these things are, but part of the beauty of the action figures that these guys make is just having it in hand.
Yes.
Once you have that thing in hand, you're screwed.
And that's why they're smart by opening up figures. Like I would go, one of my first shows was Toy Con New Jersey, and they had like the Sphexian open with the wings spread, or they
Mm-hmm.
had the Valiant Knight. Like I was like, whoa, yeah. And I remember seeing like the seeing through the wings of the Spexy, and I'm like, that is freaking rad. Like,
Spexy.
if you're an action figure fan, you're gonna swerve and take a look, and if they let you hold it, it's over.
Yeah.
The in hand thing. But
You ain't lying.
I ain't lying. I ain't lying. So by then, so once you had it figured out, did you have friends already that were in the in the line that were that you could reach out to and kind of learn things?
Did I have a mythic Sherpa? I don't know that I did, but here's the cool thing about the community and the cabal is it didn't take long before I had some good buddies that were
Right.
being real helpful. Eric Miller being one of them,
Hmm.
which is pretty crazy to think of. Like, uh, I know he's not like a really outgoing guy, but definitely an extremely friendly guy,
Yes, he
and
is.
it don't feel like you can't approach him, even though he's quiet.
That's right. Yeah, just be persistent and annoying
Yep,
like
that's
me,
right.
and just
Worked
keep
for me.
bugging him.
Yep.
Yeah, it worked for us.
Now don't bother him.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, especially now. Now, don't bother him. He's busy making some amazing things.
No, but seriously, Eric, totally reach out to him, but don't be offended if it takes a while for him to get back to you because he does have a lot going on.
Yeah, for sure. I know I made the mistake of using him as an example. I was doing a show and just bleh, and I said, "Oh yeah, Eric Miller is going to be at Legion's Con. Hit him up, ahead of time maybe, and
Oh
see if
yeah,
maybe you can buy
yeah.
something." And he's like, "No, do not do that." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I was just like just
Bleh.
diarrhea in the mouth, yeah." And he's like, "No, do not do that." I'm like, "Sorry, don't do that." He's a
Well,
busy
yeah,
guy.
you're just trying to be helpful, but yeah,
I was
it
trying to be
it
helpful
does it adds a lot of extra stuff to worry about. So I
for
think
sure.
that's why Eric and I typically stay away from the pre-sales stuff. It's just I got a hard enough time keeping track of my own stuff and like got a list of heads for people and yeah, I don't know.
Before you know it, there's nothing for people walking by.
Right. You get and let's not forget about the folks who are hanging out in line, you know,
Right.
at ridiculous times in the morning because they want to come and see some of the stuff that I've worked on or whoever. Like that's not lost on me. Holy cow. Like people are sacrificing their own time to come and have a chance to come and buy something from me. Like I I'm flattered. That's just unreal. I can't even it's I don't know. It makes me feel weird.
In a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So let's dig in on that a little bit. So when did you kind of be like, you know what? I want to start doing my own thing, and I want to start being creative on these figures. Like when did that dawn on you, and how did you bring that into action?
Um, so I think it was kind of a transition, and I think that's the only way that it worked for me was I started off in my like building, making stuff in the diorama world. So um, did started doing dioramas like in maybe 2017, late 2017, and that gave me a little bit of a background to or a springboard to start working on action figures themselves. And that took a long time. So I didn't start painting on any figures or anything, doing any custom action figures until after I'd got into the Legions
Hmm.
collection world. And it was probably I would say 2021 when I started painting action figures and making customs and stuff. And inadvertently was kind of building things to bring to Legion's Con in 21. Even though I didn't have a table, I was helping Dennis with his table at the time, and he allowed me to put a couple things up on his table, some dioramas. I had some spinners and some customs that I had done. But the trigger for me was I'd seen so many really cool artists out there doing
Hmm.
things, and seen so many cool like parts, like My action figure customs,
Yes.
Wolf King, uh, planetary dogs. At the time, those were kind of that was like three. There's three kind of places you could go, and I had bought so many cool like 3D printed heads that I didn't know. Like I like the head, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with it.
Right.
Like I'm not. In no way, shape, or form am I going to be painting any of this stuff. I'm gonna eventually send a bunch of stuff to Eric after I
Right.
bothered
Yeah.
bothered him enough, and we had worked out a deal to trade a diorama, and so that was so I, but I only had so many opportunities to do that, and so eventually I was just like, why not? Why not try? I was really into doing patina and like different weathering like practices on my dioramas. So why wouldn't I be able to translate that
Right.
into armor or weapons? And so stayed away from skin. That was my biggest. And I know that seems weird to me now. That might sound weird to say now because that's like my main thing,
Hmm.
but like armor, it's easier for me to make things look yucky and messed up than to make them look nice.
Because you're
And
going kind of backwards.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like it starts shiny and beautiful, and now
yep.
you're just jacking it up
The
into.
yeah, the imperfections are what actually make it look better in
Hmm.
that regard. So I would fully armored knights. You got weapons and stuff like that. I was starting to feel a little more confident watching videos of like Warhammer painters and stuff like that. Getting a lot of inspiration from the Cabal. Again, I'm going to keep mentioning Eric Miller, getting help from him and Dennis and Nikki and all the greats. Right,
All
these
the
people are
greats,
amazing.
the OGs.
And so then eventually I take out go on a limb and start trying to paint faces and I would say that my first I no, I didn't start with faces. I started with painting like torsos and arms and stuff because it was still that I had to work my way up there. I was very, very nervous to do it. And eventually, when I finally worked up the nerve to do the faces, the first few weren't terrible. They were passable. The
Mm.
eyes, it took me many years to start getting comfortable painting eyes. But eventually it just I found like through talking with the artist that I had mentioned, actually Joe Russo. I'm going to mention Joe here. Um, he he has a very different way of painting the heads that he does. I don't know if you've ever talked to him about his process,
Mm-mm.
but it's quite a bit different than from how Eric does it, from how A, B, or C, right? Um, and he kind of at the time he explained his method, and sorry Joe if I'm butchering it, but he would almost like kind of work, do the eyes and everything and then work away from that.
Really?
Where traditionally you would do the flesh and everything
That's what I would think.
and
Yeah.
then do the eyes last. Well, I
Interesting.
think the idea for him was like creating those undertones, so you've got the darker undertones
Hmm.
like in certain areas, and I don't know, maybe he does it all over. I don't want to speak for him, but that it was his like his way of doing things that I was able to more or less adapt that and create my own, like the way that I do it. And I'm not going to
Hmm.
say it's my own because maybe there's other people that do it the same way, but kind of working that creating those shadows earlier on and then really really light layers is how I do it, kind of building the depth and the different imperfections in the skin and everything.
Hmm.
Uh,
Skin just seems so challenging because of all the different tones and shadows and layers, and because no one has one skin tone. Like we would look like a
mm-hmm.
Terminator or something. We would look weird
Like what is
with
wrong with
just,
Greg right
yeah.
now?
What is wrong with this? Pallor is weird. But so what advice would you give? Would you say like buy a Legion builder, buy a Marvel Legend and prime it, and like what would your.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say, and I actually saw um, a post in the Cabal here recently. Uh, there's when you've got 3D printers out there printing parts, they there's a chance for having a lot of misprints and mess ups. I would say if you know somebody who's got a lot of 3D printed parts, somebody who's got a 3D printer, maybe ask them to, hey, do you have any misprints or any mess ups that you don't want? Practice on that. Yeah, grab a Marvel Legends head and base paint that thing,
Hmm.
and work your way up on that. Use Practice on things that you don't care about, because for me the biggest thing was like I just spent a lot of money to get this really cool sculpted piece
Right.
and sent to me, and I don't know if I'll be able to get another one if I mess this up.
Right.
Here's another thing. If you do mess up, you can always take it back down to the base.
Hmm.
So if you soak it in isopropyl alcohol, or there's this LA Totally Awesome cleaner that I
I've seen
use.
that. Yeah.
You could soak that overnight and just shake it up, scrub it with a toothbrush, and you got completely
Brand new.
all your Citadel paints or whatever are rubbed off of there. So you just don't don't be afraid to take that first step, whether it's on a AEW wrestler action figure, or a GI Joe or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Take a crack at it, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Watch a lot of YouTube.
Right.
That's that's kind of where I was able to
Yeah.
take my pointers from.
These are good advice. Good advice. I would say, do it for yourself, not thinking, oh, I'm going to sell this and make,
That was
money
never
off
going to
of it.
happen in my mind. That was
Yeah. Just
never.
make
Yeah.
it for you, I would
Totally.
say.
Yep.
For sure. For sure.
Yep. I still got stuff in my collection that I never planned on selling or anything like that. I never plan on selling because it's some of the things that I cut my teeth on, so
Hmm.
to speak. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how did the enablers come about? Like what was the genesis of that? Like I know you're friends with Eric. So how did that, and I know the story's been told many times, but from your perspective, how did it come about? And then like cuz it's almost like you step into a more of a public I think. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's like people knew you before, you became, publicly part of this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
but like was that a thought that you had too? Like, I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be one of those guys that's doing podcasts, and like, how did that come about?
Well, that last piece that you said, um, I don't think is it still hasn't. I still don't think of myself as like I'm one of those guys who does a podcast. I forget about it a lot,
Oh,
even though
but you are one of those
here I am.
guys.
I look like an idiot here. I forget
I know. I
about
was
it all
looking
the
for
time.
mine. I didn't have mine. Mine's. I wore it for the last few enabler interviews. And Joe, you're next. I'm looking for you, Joe. You're
That's
next,
right.
buddy.
I'm not the last one, huh?
Not the last one.
uh, so that whole thing started, like the original inception of the whole thing started in 2021, uh, leading up to Legion's Con. Just having the chats with the different guys, Mike, Joe, Eric. I wasn't really chatting with Wyatt yet at that point in time. Interactions in the Cabal,
Hmm.
totally. I knew he was a cool dude, but we hadn't been messaging or anything. Uh, and just kind of started off with, hey, I'd like to meet up, talking with these guys individually. I'd like to meet up, you know, grab a bite to eat or whatever, hang out, just see you guys when I pull in there. And eventually we got added to a whole group chat, and just kind of started there. That was when that all started. Well, eventually we got to the point where we would just be talking every day for after that, until the next year, until the next year, until the next year. And I think it was in 2022 when I was like, God, you guys are like bad influences. Like we're all just horrible. Like, just, yeah, I think you should do that.
Yeah,
Like,
buy it. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. You need
just,
two.
God dang, that is just, you guys are just the worst enablers. So I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, so I changed the group name, the text thread, and so that was in 2022, uh, 2 years before the podcast ever was an idea, uh, which is cool because I just look back at an interview, like an article that I did for Jeremy. This was back in 2022, for the Four Horsemen website. It was like I don't know, artist spotlight type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I had mentioned in there, it was a little Easter egg that I put in there, like shout out to my Mythic Enabler crew, and it's funny because it's still on the website, and it was published like long before the podcast was ever like a thing, a twinkle in the eye. I thought that was kind of funny, but as far as the actually turning it into a podcast, it was it was right before Legion's Con of 2023, or sorry, 2020. I don't know, one of the years. Uh, whenever we started, but so Wyatt, yeah, it was 2023 because Wyatt wasn't there.
I think it was 23. Yeah.
Yep, and I was just talking. We were all talking to the guy, like in person and in the chat, and just like, and we had talked about it up before then. Like we should just, man, I love chatting with you guys. We could just record our conversations, and that could be a podcast by itself. And it was kind of like, ha 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 ha. Well, after GCon, I had caught wind that the Euro Legions guys were looking to go grab a bite to eat, and I had my truck, and so I'm like, hey, they wanted to go to Jersey Mike's because they're in New Jersey, and they there's no
Right.
such thing in Europe,
Yeah.
evidently,
Duh.
come to find out, there's better food, but that's neither here nor there.
Let them discover that.
Yeah, but so I bring him to Jersey Mike's, and we had a good time and talking, and on the way back, I'm like, John, like, if we were to like try and do this, would you be able to help us kind of, with figuring out what hardware we need, what, program, hardware, software, everything. Teach us the ways, master. And of course, John, just being the awesome dude that he is, John Caulfield of the Euro Legions
Mm-hmm.
podcast, just being the awesome guy that he is, he was like, of course. And so then it's like talking with Wyatt and stuff, and he's like, dude, I had the same thought, like, let's do this. And then it was just a thing. We're like, the thought there, and I think we've said it before, is even if nobody cares to listen to this thing, it's just an excuse for us to get together every once in a
Right.
while and just BS and catch up. And it's kind of like a therapy session.
I think the show has that vibe, though. Like you guys are comfortable with each other. It's not like, there's no nervous, there's no like annoying. There's just, bros talking about stuff that's interesting to them.
Yeah.
And I think you guys definitely capture that. Let me ask a question, though.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, another hot seat. And you don't have to name names, but I'm
Yeah.
just curious, like you talking about this group chat. Is there anyone that's in the group chat that chose not to be on the show, or is that someone that just
Oh,
isn't on the show?
the
Um,
the missing enabler.
yeah, is there people or a person that just
No.
isn't on there?
Nope.
Okay.
It was
Look
always
me in the eye and say that. It just occurred to me. I'm like, what if there was like, the fifth Beatle? Like,
yeah,
bro, I wanted to be on the Enablers. You know what I mean?
the
Like
sixth
this poor guy
inning.
didn't. Sorry,
Yeah.
you didn't make the cut. You're. But
Well, here's what I will say. And shout out Michael Wood, because Michael Wood is he's a good dude from the community, fellow collector. Not extremely active
mhm.
like in the cabal all the time, but he actually, it's kind of funny the way it worked out. I feel like I might have took his spot almost. so so these guys, they were all at intern in 2021, and I didn't win the drawing for intern, but I flew in a little bit early, and so I, while GCon was going on, I so it was Justin, Aquila, and myself.
Mhm.
Uh, Justin picked me up from the airport, and we're cruising around. He had a rental car, and we're cruising around. We're like, let's go like look and see if we could like just see what the studio looks like,
Anybody
and
in there?
not even like, but it was more like, just let's, like, we're in Disneyland. Why wouldn't we go and see
Right.
where Walt Disney, does the art, So we look, we find the studio, and pull into the parking lot. It's still in that same spot, right where it was, with the green awnings and everything.
Mhm.
And pull up to the studio and just like, oh my god, that's so cool. Uh, like taking pictures, and I texted Walt at the time. I'm like, fucking text him a selfie, and he's like, "You're here." He's all of a sudden I see like the door, and Walter like looking around. And he was like, it was it was
Hell
like the
yeah.
type of deal. It and it's safe now. I think there's statute of limitations on this stuff, but
Right. Right.
now GCon is a total public event. But I was able to go in there and check it out. It was
That's awesome.
so amazing to just be like, oh my god, dude, like I'm here.
It's literally like Willy Wonka. Like
Right.
it's
So there's GCon and there's Mike and Joe and Eric and Wyatt, like all the guys that I had been chatting with, and Michael Wood unfortunately had to leave, so he wasn't there for GCon, or maybe he was there for GCon but wasn't able to be there for Legions Con, and so he had left the chat group, and I mean, maybe there's your answer, Greg. I mean, maybe there
there
was
you go.
your fifth Beatle.
There you go.
But yeah, Mike,
Wow.
totally good dude. But I
I
mean,
recognize the
realistically,
name.
we could only have one Mike in the
That's
thing.
true.
So I'm
That is
sorry.
true. He's extraordinary unto himself. I did ask a creepy question, and I realized it like after I said it. Um, during the intern thing, this last one, um, I the so I won last year, and this year I didn't sign up because I'm like I went. I'm grateful. I don't need to go every year.
Mm-hmm.
Let someone else take that spot. So Brian Carr got it, and then he invited me. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to say no. Of course, I'll
Yeah.
come back. But the last year, I didn't do the tour. So Jim did the tour last year, and that was his last time to do the tour. So knowing that, I wish I would have taken the tour. But
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, so I did the tour. Jeremy did it this time, and we're by the front door. And he's, does anyone have any questions? And people asked a few questions. And one of my friends had said a while ago, like I have a group chat too. Who doesn't have a group chat? We
Right.
all have multiple group
Right.
chats now. But my friend in the group chat said, hey, he lives in the New Jersey area, but he's like, I wonder what would happen if I just showed up at the studio. And I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
And so I threw that out there to Jeremy, and like all the people were there. I'm like, so what would happen if somebody just stopped in? And Jeremy's like, well, you not, I mean, this is a place of business. You're not really supposed to do that. People are working. We have, secret stuff that,
Mm-hmm.
we don't want you guys to see yet. And it's all over tables and,
Yeah.
could be, all over the place. So it's, we don't really, and I felt embarrassed, like, like it was me, like I was going to show up and be like, hey guys, Shrimp's here. Can
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
like it wasn't me. I was just,
Asking for a friend.
asking for a friend. Yeah. Like,
Jeremy's like,
yeah, like you bastard,
get this guy
like,
out of here.
yeah, get this guy out of here. No more, you get this guy out of here. No pizza for you.
You're done.
But because I'm sure, like, because you get that you feel like they're all bros. You want to sit on the couch with Chris and George and hang out, but it's a place of business. It's work. I mean, it's not, they're not always like, hey, like
Right.
they're doing business and work and stress. And
Yeah, they do a lot of work to get that place fit for like public
yeah,
eyes. It's not just a come on in, like,
come on in.
here, let me put something appropriate on. That's not
Right.
the deal.
That being said, though, Chris's office is insane.
Yeah.
Like George's office is amazing.
Take office out of that statement and you could
Yeah,
still,
right.
that's still the same.
Exactly.
Chris is
Like,
insane.
His daughters were at intern this year. His daughters were there and they were sitting at the table, like having snacks or whatever. And I'm like, is that your dad's office or is that a closet? Like, there was like a small path that kind of winded to, I think a desk was there. I'm not sure, but there was just boxes and like just stuff and junk everywhere. I'm like, oh my God. Like the two different offices was just so different.
So that's a really good that's a good like visual depiction of like the dynamic of those two anyways.
Yes.
like
personality, like that's their brain space, like that's their uh
chaos and order.
oh my god. I was just like, because last year the door was closed and I was like, is that Chris's office? But it was closed, so I didn't, I'm not gonna like, hey, you know but this year the door was wide open. I'm like, oh my god, like how do you get any work done in here? Like I'm too fat to even go in there. Like I would not. I would be like, Gojira, like going
Whoops.
through like the buildings, like knocking stuff over. But I was like, that's insane, man. It's crazy.
Yep.
That being
Yeah,
said, intern is a blast, man. I love intern. So much fun.
it is.
So
I
how was your Legions Con experience this last year?
It was awesome, man. I honestly feel like it was one of the better years
Mm,
as far as interactions and just energy and I don't know. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it's something we all know and we feel. It's the post-con blues.
mm-hmm.
So um, that was it was still there this year, and it's probably still there. But it's a lot easier to deal with this year for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that was because uh, I'm just in a better headspace like
Mm-hmm.
altogether, or if it's because it almost felt like this year was more like, hey, good to see you, can't wait to see you again type of thing, rather than,
Right.
hey, good to see you, oh my god, I hope I get to see you again type of thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, yeah, we'll see you around, you
Yeah.
know. And it wasn't because there was any lack of engagement or connections or anything in that regard. It was more like, I've seen you guys years and years and years, and we're gonna do this again. And whether it's
Absolutely.
sometime in the middle of the year at a different convention, or passing through your town, or you're passing through my town, or whatever it is, we've got different touch points where, it's not just the one time a year, or it's not just the one event in life.
Right.
It's going to be an anniversary that we all, this family, what's the family reunion, you
Right.
know uh,
Yeah, I agree. Like I was talking to Brian Lynn the other night about um, having cons
shout
in
out
between.
CarverCon.
Yeah, Charter CoverCon. Are you going?
I'm going to do my best. I
Yes.
can't say
Come on,
one way or the
man.
other, but
Come
yeah,
on,
I
man.
it's looking like 90%.
I will write you a permission slip. Give it
I'm
to your
I'm
boss.
going to do everything that I can to be there.
Um, but so like it's nice to have these cons in between Legion's Con. So like you said, it's like, hey, like I'll ask, hey Brett, what con are you going to be at? Or I mean, we know he'll be
Yeah.
at everyone, but maybe not a good example. But like,
Yeah.
hey, where are you going to be at? Are you going to, like I was asking my friend Matt Van Fossen, are you going to be at MuskyCon? Oh, for sure. Are you going to be at CarverCon? Yeah, it's my backyard, so of course I'll. So it's nice to be able to like, yes, I'm not going to see you for a while, but at least I'll see you hopefully more than once a year. Really, my
Yeah.
dog. So I agree with you on that sense. Like I will see my friends hopefully more often. Depends on how far, too. Like Wyatt is on the West Coast, so it's like whenever you get to see him, it's like a gift. You
Yep.
know what I mean? But that MuskyCon was awesome. This last that
Man,
was so rad. Other than his all his mishaps of
he took it in
luggage,
stride,
and
that guy.
he did. He's got that California chill.
Yep.
That us bros
Yep.
all share, I think. But
Yeah. No, you're right, man. And I do want to. He did have a snafu with his luggage, but he was looking pretty damn good in that new to Mythics shirt that he
it
had.
sure was. I got pictures.
Just
I
saying.
got pictures for sure.
Yep.
Absolutely.
He was rocking that at Legion's Con.
Did he? I don't know if did I
Oh
see
yeah.
it. Maybe
I
I
don't know
saw
if
it.
you did or not, but he was representing, man. I just want you to know
I
he.
appreciate that. He's one of my favorite dudes. He was
Yeah.
my first enabler that was on the show.
Yeah. I
He's
remember
done
that.
a couple, so he's a lot of fun.
I like that dude.
I do too. He's doing like nuclear stuff. I'm like, bro,
He's
me
a
and
smart
Brett,
guy.
he's a smart dude. Me and Brett picked him up at the airport for Legion's Con, and I was just like hanging out and like Brett is like super smart, and Wyatt, I didn't know, is super smart. So they're talking about like nuclear fission. And I'm like over here playing with my, my toys. I'm like, yeah, this is cool.
You see how his arm bends?
Yeah. They're talking about like, oh yeah, the cooling towers of this nuclear plant. I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, man. But
you're using the right words though. At least you paid attention.
I did. I did. I was just in awe. I was like, whoa, I got some smart bros here, man. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked over an hour, and I've had a great time. I feel like I've talked more than you, much more, and I'm sorry. I took over.
I don't know if that's the case.
But I hope you had a good time, and I hope that you would come back.
Yeah.
Dude. It wouldn't take another 81 episodes for you to return.
I might not still be new to Mythics at that point in time, but I'll come back.
I didn't think about that. I've gotten a few hard times about that. Like, dude, you're not new to Mythics anymore. You've been around. I'm like, yeah, I know. I didn't think about it. Okay. What can I change it to? Just Mythics? Like,
I don't want to take you off your rhythm at the end of your show here, but I'm going to say that I was thinking about that here today as I was taking my shower, Greg. I was thinking about you.
Whoa! Just stop right there. That's all I needed to hear. Just stop right there. Let's
cut.
Stay in that. Let's stay in that moment. You're in the shower. It was hot. It was steamy. Is it a big shower?
It's real tight quarters.
Okay, it's snug. It's a snug.
Real hot.
You had to get close if there's two people in there. Okay. Yep. then what happened? You were thinking about Schmerbs, and
so I was thinking about the name of the show, and I was like, you know what? I think it's still a really good and viable name, and here's why: because your show is incredibly approachable from any standpoint. It's something, and I think the name gives it lends the credibility to the idea that if you are in fact new to Mythics, this is absolutely a show you should be watching, because it gives you a little bit of a look behind the Facebook profile picture or any of that stuff, and just let you know that any of these folks, and I'm not considering myself special by any means,
you should,
but all these folks that you've had on this show, you've had some big names, and they're all touchable. They're all real people.
Approachable.
And I think the idea, don't touch the corn boy.
No. let him touch you. Don't.
But I'm looking up here, and maybe it's reversed for you, but I see the new to Mythics logo, and I'm just thinking like that is a welcome. That's like the welcome committee for anybody who's coming into the community.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
You thought about that in the shower?
I did.
That gives it even more weight in my
shower thoughts, man.
Shower thoughts. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And that's something that I like. I don't paint. I don't create stuff really per se, but I like to connect. I like to showcase my friends. I like to show their creativity. I like to celebrate the things that they are passionate about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I can have the creators on, like, that's awesome. It stresses me out, but I love to talk to them. I love to be, to show that they're fans, like what you and I were talking about. They love toys too. Like the excitement and the passion. Like if you talk to Chris one-on-one about, producing figures and like the production side and like, you know what I mean? Like the dude will get scientific on you.
Yeah.
When it comes to like the discs and like all the different, the thickness of the plastic and stuff like that, where you actually like, I remember I'm breaking off. I was trying to say goodbye, but I'm breaking off. But like he was on the show talking about like how the hands are a different kind of plastic. And I forget the name that he used, but like, and it makes it so that you can actually open the hand and put a sword in it, not like the G.I. Joe thumb that would break off.
PVC, I think it is, maybe.
Yeah, there's a term about the
elasticity or whatever.
Yes, yeah, and
I don't know, man.
So that it was cool to hear them or hear him being passionate about something like that. So I try to showcase that, and I do my part, man.
You do it well, brother.
My part. Thank you, man. Love you, man.
Love you too.
So check out Noah on Mythic Enablers. It's every other Monday, right? Monday morning. You guys have So when is the next one? So by the time the show, you'll probably have one out already, because this is about 3 weeks. You're about 3 weeks out. So
Yeah.
you had one. Well, never mind. It's just going to
Every other
confuse
Monday.
people. Yeah.
We're on pretty much all the major podcast platforms, iTunes or Apple. Is iTunes even a thing anymore?
I don't know.
Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify.
Wherever you get your sound
That's right.
programs, your audio programs. I love when you
record.
Yeah, those albums. I love when you guys do like the live, or you'll do like you and like Eric or Wyatt will do like a live show. You haven't done that in a while, or maybe I've missed it.
We're overdue.
But I love when you guys do that. I need more of the more of the enablers. I need to see these visages. I need to see you guys talking, and I need to be in the chat, and just
we'll do some more live stuff for you, Greg.
I appreciate that. Man. Appreciate that.
Thanks for having me on, man.
No, man, it's my pleasure. It's an honor. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I don't want you to leave. I want you to just hang out all day. We'll talk.
We don't have to go anywhere. Just stop this recording. We're gonna get serious.
Yeah, well, keep jibber jabbing. Now I'm afraid, because you're gonna be like, you son of a bitch, who brought up the double jointed articulation, and you didn't tell me you were gonna do that.
You know how I feel.
Now there's much more to talk about, and I would love to have you back on and hear your thoughts, because I didn't even ask you about the new wave. I didn't ask you about what else. What else didn't I ask you about?
There's so much more to explore.
There's so much more. Yeah.
Next time.
You had to come back.
Dude, don't threaten me with a good time.
I won't do that. All right, my friend. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Remember, friends, to always have fun, be curious, share, and enjoy what this line has to offer. Come for the toys, but stay for the friends. Good night, and thank you very much.